What's up, guys? It is Coach Kally V, and this is the Kally V podcast. Now, if you follow me on social media, on my stories on Instagram, you are going to see, and you might be waiting for this episode, but I did kind of give you a little prelude, I don't know. I give you a little like, dun, 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 this is what we're going to talk about on this particular episode. And I seriously have been chomping at the bit to lay this track down for you guys. And something I've learned, as I've gotten older is to, when you get that vibe, right? And, there's going to be a lot of opinions that are mixed in it, chew on it a little bit, because you'll start to realize the longer you're thinking about it, like if it keeps coming up, it's like, okay, this is obviously a valid point. This isn't like so much as an emotion, like this isn't an emotional reaction. This is literally me taking almost 30 years of being an elite fast pitch pitching coach and coaching at every level except pro. So we're talking like rec, little league, high school, travel ball, even collegiate level, even running clinics, okay? Doing all this stuff. And this is a topic that still, I don't want to say takes me off, but it kind of does take me off. It just irks me because never fails. Every single year, everybody nitpicks like what top level pitchers are doing, right? Maybe they have a broken ankle drag. Maybe they have a pre-track. I mean, it's all the stuff that like pitching coaches like myself teach in foundation not to do those things, right? So then somebody's like, well, the older girls are doing it. Okay, let me just hold the phone. Okay, just pause for a second. I want you to think about this, okay? You are comparing a 10-year-old little girl, a 12-year-old little girl, a 14-year-old little girl, a 16-year-old girl, sometimes even 18 years old who hasn't fully grown yet, to a full-grown woman, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, all the pitchers so far that I've seen in the College World Series, and obviously we are in, the last of it because Texas Tech and Texas played today. So this is game one of what could be 3 games, if not more, right? If it's a fight, we will see. But every pitcher who we have seen compete has been nothing but a complete workhorse, right? And their movement preferences are speaking so loud to who they are and where they're at in their journey. Well, I'll tell you where they're at right now. They're grown, right? They're not 10, they're not 12, they're not 14, they're not 16, still going through growth spurts. Okay, so this is why I'm going to harp on how important it is for the solid foundation to be built. Because I'm telling you right now, all of these pitching coaches, all of these pitchers, okay, all of these pitchers that you've seen, what they are doing right now is a significant reflection of where they started. They all have solid foundations in their pitching. Solid, okay? So this is what I want you guys to buy into is if your daughter is learning how to pitch and she's watching somebody who does have a broken ankle drag, and then she starts to purposely, quote unquote, break her ankle and drag and make an anchor out of it, okay, there's a problem there. For starters, that's not her preference. Okay, so it's kind of like running. Okay, there's a right way to running, and then there's a really wrong way to running, and then there's the way you run. Think about that, right? Because every little girl, a very few and far and in between, have I ever not seen a girl who, typically doesn't have that very feminine like run, to what people say, like, you run like a girl. What? Yeah, thanks. I am a girl. You know what I mean? Like, but every little girl most girls have had to learn how to run correctly. Okay. Why? Why is that? Well, because physics say this makes sense. Science says this makes sense. This slows us down. Okay. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching me, throw my arms side to side. If you're listening to this, you get the drift, right? If not, check it out on YouTube. So there is a correct way. It's not like one way or the highway to pitch. There's simple movement patterns that when you do them right, when you build that solid foundation, they're going to pave the way for your future as you continue to grow, okay? I've seen pitchers who were never corrected at a young age and they get stuck at speed. Like they can't get any faster, okay? So if you're 14, 16 years of age, even 18, okay? Because please tell me why. Please riddle me this. How can some pitchers who are 18 go to college and start getting more speed? especially these colleges that have programs where they actually work on movement patterns and they actually work on how to execute the spin better. It's a crazy concept, okay? So physics tell us that there's a right way to move that's going to decrease friction, right? What we're moving against, okay? But yet we still have people saying these high-level pitchers are doing all these negative things, but they're fully grown. So that's, to me, there's no comparison. You can't compare a full-grown woman to a little girl who's still growing. You can't. I mean, most of these little girls are still like, these little girls that are watching these games, they're girls that, see, even the light agrees, they're watching these girls and they start to mimic these patterns. And then I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. They're going to mimic these patterns. They're going to be super successful at throwing strikes. And then all of a sudden, they're going to wonder why they can't throw other pitches, why they can't execute zone, and why they can't gain speed. And it's because the mechanics that they're learning, right, before their body's grown, well, they're actually robbing them of any success that they're supposed to make in their journey. So the biggest thing I want to stress to you guys, because I feel like I have a lot of parents who listen to this whose daughters are on the younger side of pitching, okay? I want you to understand that there is a foundation of pitching that your daughter needs to grasp, first and foremost. And that foundation needs to be able to grow with her, okay? So like, for instance, I have a pitcher in my program. She's been working with me, goodness, for 1.5 years now. And she is on the smaller side. And she's obviously growing because her legs are starting to get longer. Her mom even told her like she's starting to get muscles on her legs, which is right on time. She's going to be in 7th grade. Like everything's, the math is mathing. And I'm going to say about 4 weeks ago, when she would send me video of her pitching in the program, I started to notice these little micro movement patterns. And I said, hey, you're doing a great job in season right now. Okay, first and foremost, your pitch selection, because she calls her own games. Like she just wrapped up 6th grade and she's already throwing, a changeup for a strike out of the gate and then hit you with a fastball in and then going to a drop ball out and striking you out. Like she's super smart. Or she'll just like, oh, they don't even get the inside zone at all. So I'm just going to tunnel everything. Who says tunnel in 6th grade? She does. Okay. Mila does. Mine. So I started to notice these little mechanical things, and it was in her lower half, and it was her drive foot. She was starting to, when she would come out of her low to her reach, she would start to pivot that drive foot. And as a right-handed pitcher, she would like start turning it towards third base. And I said, right now, you really need to focus on coming off the mound in a sprinter's load. This is going to serve you over time. Guess what she did? She bought in. She reset it. And last week she hit a new PR. So her season time, she was trying to hit a new PR. And all of her frustration, she just kept pivoting that drive foot out, thinking she was pushing harder and harder off the mound, and she figured it out. I'm not saying that what you're seeing at the college level, if you see a pitcher not come off the mound like a sprinter's load, I'm not saying that that's completely wrong. What I'm saying is those are full-grown women. Their mechanics are pretty dead set, right? Yes, they can clean house and they can, make some minor adjustments, but at that level, even at the pro level, I mean, if you look at the pro pitchers, their mechanics are pristine, so good. One of my favorites, Tay Beasy, right? Taylor McQuillan. I love watching her pitch, her mechanics. And so much so that last season, she made a change mid-season to her load. Okay? That's crazy. But she did it. Another one that I like to watch, Montana Fouts. I love watching her pitch. Her mechanics are so amazing. Even Jordy's. Like, I remember when Jordy first came on the scene, everybody's like, she pitches like a dude. I'm like, no, she doesn't. She pitches exactly the way her body needs her to pitch in order to compete with these 6 foot and up pitchers. Okay, so if you are a parent of a pitcher, I want to encourage you to put as much focus and as much energy and as much time and dedication to your daughter's development, because that development is going to serve her in the long run. Honest to God, like you cannot shortcut your daughter's development when it comes to pitching. And when you do, you're actually shortening her timeline of pitching, not just in the physical, but also her emotional and mental aspect. So if you really want to see your daughter play at the highest level that she dreams to play, like when I get applications filled out, like girls, they're not just like, I want to play at some podunk school. These girls strike hard. Like my most recent one is a girl named Kenley who wants to play for UCLA. Let's get it, girl. Let's build that house, right? How do you still have houses that are standing that were built in 1950? Because there's a solid foundation. There's something to be said about a solid foundation. Okay. And I'm going to leave you with this. If a foundation in pitching wasn't so important, then when it comes to hitting, why do we even bother hitting off of a tee? Why? I'm going to tell you why we bother hitting off a tee, because it's foundational work. So the next time you get caught up in FOMO and you think your daughter at 10, 12, 14, 16 should be pitching like a full-grown woman, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay. And it's tough to do that because we as parents, like, we want to see our kids succeed, and God forbid our kid goes through anything hard. But guys, the hard is where your kid finds her grit. The hard is where your kid finds her grace. And the hard is where your kid gets her growth. If you keep her from experiencing hard times and struggles in her pitching journey, you're stunting her growth. She's never going to reach her goals. Okay. So as always, guys, I thank you for listening to the podcast. And if you're not subscribing, please do. This is real stuff that I'm talking about, specifically made for you, the pitcher, the parent of a pitcher, or you, the coach. This is for you. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for listening, and God bless.